Hello, welcome to the Extra End podcast by Bowls England. I'm Honnor, editor of Bowls International magazine, and I'm here with Amy Gowshall, decorated England international bowler. Now, you've represented England all over the world. Tell me a little bit about how you started playing bowls.
Well, I started when I was 9 years old, and I hate to say that is quite some years ago now. But I started because my parents played. At that time, they used to have a pub in Leicester, and pub closing used to close over lunchtime, so they only used to have like an hour or so to go and do something. They used to go and play squash and badminton and things like that, but as time sort of got shorter and shorter, they went down and they played bowls, and I was just fed up, sat there watching. So I thought, why not? I'll give it a go.
And were you any good straight away, or?
Do you know what? I don't really remember. I just remember being hooked and just wanting to get better, because it was just frustrating. I was like, why can't I get this round thing next to that little white thing? This is ridiculous. And that's the kind of thing. And I think, to be fair, I think that's why most people still play, even if it's 32 years later or whatever it is. It's that sort of that frustration and that want to get better, and trying to understand. Well, I've just bowled a really good ward, and then I've bowled like absolute rubbish. Why have I done that? So I can't really remember. I just remember being very competitive from a very early age.
I think bowls looks really easy as well to people that have never played the game before. It looks pretty simple, but once you get on the green, bit of a different story, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I've taken quite a few people down, sports people as well, sort of my colleagues, to come and have a go at the game, because they all pull my leg about playing bowls and how old are you to play bowls, etc. So I take them down every now and again, and they find it a lot more difficult than it looks, and also they get really, really competitive. So I think it's something in the game itself, very similar to golf, I would imagine.
So tell us a little bit about what you do for a job. You've just touched upon your colleagues. What is it that you do?
I'm the head of PE department at an academy in Grimsby. So I've been a PE teacher for a very long time now. And I teach 11 to 18-year-olds, GCSE, BTEC, A-level, the full range of physical education. And to be fair, it's the school that I actually went to as a student, which might sound a bit sad to some people, but it's changed so much, just like the game of bowls itself.
And what do your students think about? Do they know that you're a bowler? They obviously have some idea because you've been very successful. What do they have to say about it?
I think they're a bit puzzled. I think if anybody ever mentions anything, sort of the most popular thing to discuss, is minority sports. We often discuss that in GCSE and A-level PE, or things such as Commonwealth games or travelling, etc. I try not to drop it in conversations too much, that, oh yes, I've been there, oh I've done this, I've done that. But I think when I do, the initial reaction is one of shock, and I'm afraid, and I'm really sorry to say this, still to this day, is that the game that old people play? And I really, really have to bite my lip to remain professional at those times. But when I explain that I've played for England and the places that I've been to, I think actually they're really surprised, and in a good way as well, that somebody that's teaching them has experience all over the world.
So have you tried to introduce it within the school in any way?
We used to, when I first got to that, back to 12 Hour Academy, they used to have a short mat facility actually on the ground. So we used to take the students and play. It wasn't easy logistically, just with obviously class numbers, class sizes. But I have taken a few of the students out of the school, and we've done some sort of extracurricular. But it's more of a one-off, and I've never really, foolishly, I suppose, pushed it too much, in the fact that I just think giving them the experience and the knowledge of how to do something will give them confidence to go back to it possibly in the future. And I think that's what we need to push on, rather than trying to force it too much with anybody that's starting, to be quite honest.
Because in some areas of the country there are obviously programs that have been introduced in schools, and you and I both have played other sports in the past, both bowlers now, but I think bowls ticks a lot of boxes for people that might not necessarily be interested in the mainstream sports, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think this is it, it's getting away from the games kind of activities. And for some students, I mean, we try and do this quite a lot anyway at the academy, but we try and offer like a broad range of activities so that there's something for everybody. And I think, to be fair, bowls is that sport, because once you get past that initial possibly negativity or the perception of it being an old person's game, once you get past that, you've got the sports people and the very competitive people, students who are desperate to do really, really well. But there's also something for those students who are less competitive, just because of the fact that it's, you know, you've got that aiming, you're working on your own, or you can work on your own. You can work to try and beat your own targets. You know, so there is something for everybody in the game of bowls. And really, you know, it's a shame that more isn't happening. I think it's hard for schools to get students out and away from the school site itself. I know certainly for us it's difficult, and for restrictions coming in. But I don't know the best way other than like taster sessions.
It's all about promoting an image that's more appealing to outsiders than we've currently got. I mean, what other ways could we do that, do you think?
For me personally, I actually think we should be looking to target late 30s, early 40s, people that are coming out of maybe other sports, playing football, netball, hockey, because they've then got the family link as well. They've got the family tie. I do think we sometimes, as a sport, possibly miss a trick. And I know there's more things that are coming into play with that, you know, the barefoot bowls, for instance, to try and entice that kind of age people. I think it's often too young on a mass, as you know. It doesn't work. It doesn't happen. You know, you're never going to get 16, 13, 14-year-olds turn up, you know, to come and play. It's not going to happen. Yes, you do get those sort of young people, often through family ties, but I think to sort of hit a mass target, a mass audience, I think we're looking at, you know, the late 30s, 40s, getting those people in and getting them to bring families in.
You talk about family ties. I mean, you spent years playing with your own mum, Chris. Let's just go a bit back. So what happened after you were playing in the lunch break with them working at the pub? Where did it go from there?
Well, then we moved back to Grimsby. Mum and Dad joined a bowls team, and they were in the A team. Obviously, they'd played for some time by then anyway. And I played in the C team, because you played in the team, you know, that was suitable for your sort of ability. And I absolutely loved it. I loved playing away from mum and dad. They used to go off and play in the A team. They used to drop me off at, you know, one of the other players' houses. She used to take me to the games. It was competitive, but it was enjoyable, really enjoyable. I learned a heck of a lot. I learned a lot about the etiquette of the game as well, at such a young age. And then we used to play. It was competitive, but it was fun. And then we used to go to the pub after. Obviously, I used to have a can of Coke and a packet of crisps, which was brilliant for me. I used to get dropped off back at home. Mum and Dad had been home, for a good half an hour because they were very serious in the 18. They never used to go to the pub after. And that's the way I liked it. That I really enjoyed it. And then I started to get a little bit better, and they wanted me to move into the 18 and play with Mum and Dad. And I thought, no way, no, I don't want to miss all that. I don't want to miss out. And eventually I did. And then Mum and I started entering competitions. And it went from there, really. I've been so lucky with how things have fallen in my bowls kind of career as such. We've entered competitions, we've been successful, and then that success has led on to something else. And each time it's made me hungrier and hungrier to keep playing, to keep pushing, to keep wanting to go to the next level. So, I do believe I've been really lucky to have all of those things fall into place.
So how old are you when we're talking now? So you made the 18. What age are you now?
I'd say I was probably about 13, 14, something like that. And so that would be 1993. Me and Mum played in the Federation pairs, and we qualified for Humberside. We played Humberside Federation, qualified for Humberside, went to the Nationals, and we won the national title in 1993 when I was 14. Later that year, we also qualified in the EBA, so in the association, to get to Leamington, and we got to the final of the triples. We lost in the final of the triples that year, and that's what I mean. I had a little taste of that, and I thought, wow, I like this. This is really good. I enjoy playing in this kind of theatre as such. Skegness is a great place to play bowls. The surroundings, the atmosphere, and to play there and then follow that up with playing at Leamington. And at that time there were stands up around the green. It was busy. It was really, really busy, and I thought, yeah, I really enjoyed this. This is something I want to do. So I was ever so lucky. The following year, I got a junior international trial. So, with things kind of falling into place and happening like that, it really spurred me on.
So who was at the top of the women's game around that kind of time when you were starting out and starting to taste a little bit of success?
Mary Price. She was top of the game, and if I recall correctly, she beat us in the final of the triples. I'm just trying to wrap my brain.
It's a long time ago for you to go back.
I'm afraid so, and my brain and my memory is horrendous, so I do apologise.
So did anyone give you any good advice around that time?
Do you know what? No, not really. The advice, and it was never given as advice. I learned so much from Mum and Dad. I mean, obviously, I played with Mum a heck of a lot more. All our club games are all mixed, so I ended up playing a lot of mixed, sort of locally. But in competitions, I played with Mum. I played with Mum in everything, and I was never given advice as such. I was told exactly what I needed to do. And and I did it. I didn't kind of see it as anybody. They never coached me as such. They just played the game and instructed me. And we used to have debriefs, obviously in the car on the way home, etc. But it was never anything formal. When I got a little bit more confident and sort of a little bit better, and I'd played a little bit longer, if if I didn't agree with shot selection, something like that, and if she said, right, go on then, go and play it, I basically I had to make sure it came off, because if I didn't, then I'd know I'd be in trouble.
You're quite laid back though, aren't you?
I think so. I think I'm relatively laid back. Mum would probably, she might say otherwise sometimes, I think, but that's sometimes when you are so close to somebody, sometimes you probably, I don't know, you might say something, or I might gesture something, you know, possibly that I wouldn't with somebody else. And Mum is really, she's really sort of harsh on herself. So one thing that used to really get to Mum was if I said something like, you know, hard luck or something like that, you know, she'd be like, it's not hard luck, you know, I should have done better, and things like that. You know, that would probably irritate Mum more than anything else.
What irritates you the most on the green?
I really don't know. I'm really not too sure. I think sometimes I don't like it if people purposefully sort of employ gamesmanship, which sometimes unfortunately does creep in a little bit at all levels, I will say. You know, at all levels, I think there's no need for it. And I think that probably one of the classics is, and every bowler will experience this, is when you've just changed over at the head and you might be a few down, and your teammate says to you, oh, there's plenty of room there for you, you can do that. And sometimes inside you're thinking, why didn't you do it then? Please.
Yeah, they've slung them all over the park. You're 5 down, but come on, you can do it.
Yeah.
It must mean a lot to you, probably more so as you're getting older, looking back, that you were able to play with your mum for so long and have so much success with her.
Absolutely. I think you don't realise, because it's normal, you know, it's Chris and Amy play together, you know, and you don't realise until, I suppose, you've stopped, that, wow, actually, I did learn so much. And, you know, and I find myself, I'd probably say things or do things or say things in my head that she would say. I think, yeah, do you know what? That's where I've learned it from. That's where I understand that from. And I'm so lucky. And sort of on the other side to that, although I didn't play as much with my dad, I still played with Dad. I sort of learned a lot from him as well. Nothing phases him at all. He's just like, oh yeah, we'll see what we can do. We'll do our best. And if ever I've come off the green, I'm like, oh, Dad, I can't believe I've lost that. Or, you know, some sort of frustration. He's like, never mind, worse things happen at sea. And it's just that kind of, oh yeah, actually, you know, get a grip, kind of bringing you back down to earth.
Yeah. So when did you get into the England team for the first time?
I was a junior international in 1994 when I was 15, which that was all a bit of a whirlwind. Kind of, we got a team sheet through, because at that time, I don't think, if I remember rightly, I don't think there was a trial. I think there was a squad selected, and then I think the team was more or less selected from that. So we got a team sheet through before we went to this squad day. And on this team sheet, we're all in rinks. And I looked and my name was sort of fourth on the list. And I thought, blimey, I must do it sort of backwards. I'll be leading. And at that time, it was Rachel Chedzoy. She'll be skipping. And then Lynn Whitehead, who she was, you know, she sort of introduced herself to me at Skegness, being a young bowler as well, and she came over and she chatted, so I kind of knew her, so it worked really well. I thought, well, that's good, I'm pleased I'm with Lynn. And we got to the day, and we got the cards given out, and they went through and they said Amy Gowshall skip, I was like still like taken aback, because up until that point I honestly believed that I'd been leading. And I went to mum and dad and I was, oh, I said, oh no, I said, I'm skipping. What am I going to do? And I said, you'll be fine. You've skipped before, you know. And I was like, yeah, but all these people are sort of more experienced and older than me, and oh, what they're going to think, etc. But do you know what? The rink was absolutely lovely. We played together for a heck of a long time, and yeah, I enjoyed every single minute of that. And then from there, I moved into the international team. I think it was 1999 was my first full international cap, and I was the first woman to get into the full team when I was still sort of junior age. And that was just an experience. Played with Mary Price. That was just such a fantastic experience. Just everything about it. And again, you know, I was put with the right people. Everything kind of worked out well for me. And again, that's that kind of having the right things happen at the right time, you know, to keep me encouraged and to keep me thirsty.
Did you ever imagine that when you played against her in the triples all those years before, that you'd be lining up alongside her in a full international team?
Absolutely not. No way at all. It never even crossed my mind. You know, I was completely green as grass. I didn't see the next thing coming, and that probably made me the best bowler that I could have been at that time, because I didn't know what could happen. I had no idea about what could be going on. You know, we kind of won some games, and that was fantastic at county level. And the next game, oh wow, we've won this game, we got to count, you know, and then we get to the nationals, which was brilliant, you know, being lined up, getting your badge, and then, you know, to get in the junior team, and then not even thinking anything of it, being selected in the senior team. And you know, it was just all really, really new to me, and I never had any expectations at all.
Now, obviously, you still play for England. You know, what's the greatest thing about putting on that shirt and having that pride of representing your country?
I think the knowledge that there is nothing better. You know, that's the pinnacle. And the people that share that, there's only a minority of the country. And because I'm a keen sort of sports person, and I love watching sport, and I love watching rugby, and I, every time that I put the England shirt on, I go through the feelings that anybody else would for any other sport, you know. And it's an honour. It really is. It really is an honour. And to think that there's probably, I don't know, thousands of people that would love to do the same in their sports, not just bowls, but in their sport as well. You know, it makes you, yeah, it's, to this day, I feel exactly the same. I'm as proud as I was that first time.
Brilliant. Now, you've also played in 3 Commonwealth Games, in which you've won 2 bronze medals and a gold medal, and you've played in a World Championships where you won a gold medal in the fours. Tell me a little bit about those experiences.
Well, so my first Commonwealth Games was 2002, Manchester, and a home sort of games. Although I hadn't experienced anything like it, because I've never been to a games anywhere else, it was just really, really special. So it was special because it was my first time. It was special because it was just down the road. You know, the support was brilliant. The build up to that was fantastic. We had a complete team, men, women, disability bowlers as well. We were just one kind of unit. So that was Manchester. And to play, I got a chance to play with Lynn Whitehead, and we played for a long time together. To share that experience with her, that was really, really good. Then 2004 was World Bowls, and we had a little bit more experience under our belts. We played the fours, and it was just a special kind of experience. It was one of those moments everything fell into place. We played Wales in the semi-final, I think I recall, and it was such a good game, but everything just fell into place for us. We played the right bowls at the right time, and it was fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant to have all that support again at home. To win the gold medal was brilliant, and one of my memories of that is being presented with the medal, and it was actually a badge. And I know I shouldn't say this because obviously a gold medal is fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. But I put my head down as if I was going to get a medal around my neck. And they gave me this badge. I was like, oopsie. And that was one of my lasting memories of that World Bowls. But it was brilliant. Then we went to Melbourne, 2006. Again, a different experience playing in Australia, having an experience of how Australia view bowls was incredible because the game is at a different level there. It's not seen as a pastime for old people like it is sometimes over here, and to experience that was brilliant. We got a bronze medal there, and then in 2010 played in the pairs with Ellen Faulkner, again one of my best friends, and everything just fell into place for us. We did the right things at the right time. The build-up was brilliant. Obviously, yourself, and we were lucky enough to come away with that gold medal, and that experience in itself was fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
You've said about 20 times already that everything fell into place and we were lucky and blah, blah, blah. There are so many people, including myself, that would regard you as the best female bowler in England. It doesn't all just happen by luck.
No, it doesn't. But the right things have to happen at the right time. And it doesn't always. And that's the hardest thing to comprehend. As you know, bowls is one of those games where you can go out and you can play anybody and you can beat anybody and you can lose to anybody, but the right things have got to happen at the right time. And I am a great believer in that and in kind of fate. Yes, you have to put the hard work in. Yes, you're obviously there to play the best bowls that you can, and we all do that. And there are times when I've known and I've played and I've felt good. And yourself as a sports person, whatever sport it is, when you feel good, things should happen for you. But on the flip side, also, it doesn't always, because somebody might be having a better day. So, yes, I do believe in, and it's going to sound really corny, but there is that whole thing in bowls of length, line, and luck. I do think they all have to fall together. Hard work obviously is going to get you far, but yeah, luck helps.
What would you say your biggest setback has been?
I think the one of the biggest disappointments was World Bowls 2008 in New Zealand. In the fours, we'd come out of the group and we'd won all our games in the group. We were playing the fourth place position out of the other group, which was Ireland. And it was actually, after about 3 or 4 ends, it was like I'd never bowled before in my whole entire life. I just hit some kind of wall. And now looking back, I kind of can can, I don't know, theorize it, I suppose, if that's something that you can do, where your arousal levels just become really, really high, that you just can't control the things that are normal to you. And I went through that. It's called catastrophe theory. I went through that at that point, and I just felt so guilty because I felt like I'd let my teammates down, and I just feel as well that was a missed opportunity.
And what would you say has been your greatest achievement to date?
That's a tough one. That is really a tough one. Obviously, World Bowls, winning Commonwealth Games is fantastic. There's things like winning the family pairs. Mum and I both we won the mother and daughter pairs quite a few times before it became the family pairs, but we won the family pairs, and again, I think it was the first year that it was the family pairs, and that in itself, being an open event, could have played, we did play across genders. We played father and sons, and we won the whole competition. That was a mini victory, because I think a lot of people at that time thought the event going to an open event rather than women only would kind of sort of take away the fact that women could win it. So that in itself, I've qualified in the open event, world singles at Potters, the first woman to qualify at Potters. That again is a real achievement for me. I think the things that bowls have given me, the opportunities, I've been to Buckingham Palace, I've met the Queen. I would have never had that if I hadn't, experienced bowls in all different levels. And I think everything that I've done, winning national titles, indoors and outdoors, has always been something really, really special. So I think it's really hard to put my finger on one or two specific things.
We must just touch upon your Champion of Champions record. Please tell us a little bit about that for people that might not know.
Yeah, I've won the Champion of Champions 9 times.
Oh yeah, just the 9.
Sorry?
Just the 9?
Just the 9, yeah. I mean, it's bizarre because it doesn't feel like that. It just feels like a couple of times. It really, really does. It doesn't feel like that at all. The first one was in 1998. And yeah, it's just it's bizarre. Like, people sort of have a bit of a giggle about, oh, yeah, you really like this competition. It's just bizarre how it's happened. But I absolutely love it. And yeah, unfortunately, that 10th title eluded me this year, sort of last season. But yeah, I'll be keep trying to plug away at that. I honestly don't know what it is about the competition, but it just makes me smile.
Where's the best place in the world to play bowls, would you say?
I'd probably say to be a bowler, I would probably say Australia, because of the facilities that they've got. The game is renowned there. There's professional bowlers. It's a different sport out there. So I think as a bowler, there. But personally, my personal favourite place was New Zealand. I just absolutely loved playing bowls in New Zealand. Again, there's a different. It's taken as a different kind of level of sport, but the place and the country itself was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
And who would you say, in terms of other countries, who would you say the toughest opposition would be?
I'd say Australia and New Zealand, for the simple fact that they are, such high level players. You know, putting things into perspective for them, they're waking up and going to play bowls, whereas you and I are waking up and going to our jobs, and then when we finished our jobs, we rush from our job to go and play bowls. And you know, I played in an event in South Africa, an indoor British Lions event, and we were just having a chat. There was South Africa, Australia, and Great Britain, and we were just having a chat when all the event finished. And the Australians said, "Oh, what are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "Oh, well, I'm getting on a plane because I'm at work the following day." I said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, no, we're going on holiday now." And to me, that just blew my mind that they'd been playing bowls as their profession. And then from there, they're actually going to have a holiday. Whereas I was going back, getting off a plane, getting some sleep, and then going straight back to teaching. And it, you know, it's just different. It's different like that. So they are tough to play. And then you've got the home nations, which is always, you're always tough against the home nations, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, because you play one another so often. You know, you kind of get to know ins and outs, and there's that niggle as well.
You've taken a slight step back from the elite stuff in recent years because you've got quite a young son. What have you missed about competing in the bigger events?
I think I've missed testing myself against the toughest opposition. Not that there isn't any you know, tough opposition in England or, you know, British Isles, etc. There obviously is, but it's that game after game after game, being under pressure, getting to know yourself, because you don't really know how you're going to respond under those circumstances, and until you're in that situation sort of 3 games a day, and it's hard. So I think testing myself, and I miss the preparation. I miss the team bonding. I'm very much a team sort of player. I'm all about social interaction, and I do miss that kind of that build up and making one strong team. So yeah, I think they're the things that I miss the most.
And how do you think being a parent has changed bowls for you?
I think there's a different perspective. I think I probably don't get quite as frustrated, angry with myself after games that I lose, because I come home, Harry's got no idea what's happened at all. And, you know, he just sort of, "Mom, are you going to come and play with me?" And you think, oh yeah, actually, you know, this is what real life is about. I think it gives you a bit of perspective. And I think as well, I actually probably appreciate things that I've done in the past more. And if I do win something, I appreciate that more because of that perspective.
And how do you juggle it all? You've got like a young family, you're bowling, you've got a high pressure job. How do you juggle that?
With difficulty. I think I don't play indoors anymore. I ruptured my Achilles tendon playing netball 2011, and that was just at the beginning of the indoor season. So I stopped playing indoors that year, and I never went back to it. And to be fair, I personally couldn't do indoors, outdoors, have a full-time job and a family, you know. And I think for me, you know, as a parent, you know what it's like. You feel guilty a lot of the time because you might not be spending as much time as you could be with sons, family, etc., partners even. So it is a juggling act, and something for me had to give, and it just worked out that, you know, that I missed the indoor 1 year, and actually I didn't miss it as a whole.
How much do you think the game's changed since you started?
I think it's changed hugely. I think obviously you've got your obvious things, the dress code, you've got formats of games have changed, but I think style of play has changed. I think there's less of a gap between men and women than there once was. I think we've still got a long way to go to make sure that we have a sport in 10, 20 years' time. And I think we still need to be pushing at all levels, both grassroots and sort of elite level, to move on, to raise the profile of the game. But yeah, I do think it's changed a heck of a lot. I think the foundations haven't, and the reasons that you play, the reasons that I play, I enjoy it. I enjoy mixing with other people. I enjoy mixing with different age groups. I enjoy the social aspect to it. That hasn't changed, but I do think a lot of the other things have changed.
What would you say to people who might be thinking about taking up bowls?
I'd say give it a go. I would say it only takes one hour of your time to just go and play with somebody who's got an idea about what they're doing, just so you know how to deliver the bowls, how to put the mat down, and you'll get hooked. And like I said earlier, for me, it is about giving people the tools to be able to come back to the sport at some point in their lives. They may not want to take it up straight away there and then, but if and that's what we do as PE teachers. We hopefully give students knowledge and understanding so that they can revisit sports and activities as they move on. It's the same for bowls. And I think, you do get hooked. It's a game where you'll get hooked, and it's so frustrating. It is so frustrating, and you'll get hooked.
And for you personally, Amy, what are your aims for the future in the game?
I would like to just carry on, keep pushing, keep throwing my hat in the ring, hopefully for events. I was lucky enough to play in an Australian test where the Australians came over to Leamington Spa, and I got picked to play in that, and that really, I still know I've got the fire in my belly to go out and play well and put good bowls up against the best opposition out there. So, things as Harry gets a bit older, might be slightly easier. Obviously, as everybody knows, teachers get enough holiday as it is. I get that quite a lot. So it's hard. And my school have been really, really supportive, over the past many, many years that I've played bowls. But it is, I do have a responsibility to the students at the school as well. So it's a juggling act. But for me, I want to be an option for every event that comes up, to be quite honest.
I'm sure you will be very prominent for many years to come. Amy Gowshall, you've been a pleasure to talk to. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.